Hello, it's me, Oscar from Marijuana Garden.
NASA has observed coronal holes in the Sun, which are dark regions in the Sun's atmosphere that are caused by open magnetic fields. What are coronal holes? Coronal holes are areas where the Sun's magnetic field opens up, allowing solar wind to stream away into space. They are often found at the Sun's poles. They can last from days to months. They appear dark in extreme ultraviolet and X-ray wavelength imagery. What causes coronal holes? Coronal holes are created when large regions of the Sun's magnetic field have a single polarity or unipolar. These regions are sometimes called open magnetic field lines because they don't connect back to the Sun. What effects do coronal holes have? Coronal holes are the source of high-speed solar wind. When coronal holes face Earth, they can cause outbursts of aurora. How can NASA observe coronal holes? NASA uses the Solar Dynamics Observatory, or SDO, to observe coronal holes. NASA also uses X-ray telescopes to observe coronal holes. Can Earth be affected by the hole in the Sun? Yes, a hole in the Sun called a coronal hole can affect Earth by releasing solar wind. Solar wind is a stream of charged particles that can cause geomagnetic storms and auroras. How coronal holes affect Earth geomagnetic storms. When solar wind from a coronal hole interacts with Earth's magnetosphere, it can cause geomagnetic storms, auroras. When solar wind from a coronal hole interacts with Earth's magnetosphere, it can cause auroras, especially at high latitudes. What are coronal holes? Coronal holes are dark areas in the Sun's atmosphere where the magnetic field opens up. They are cooler and less dense than the surrounding plasma. They are often found at the Sun's poles, examples of coronal holes affecting Earth. In 2012, a large coronal hole turned toward Earth and released solar wind that reached Earth around June 5th to 7th. In 2023, a large coronal hole appeared near the Sun's equator and pointed directly at Earth.